Hey up, it's Steve from Old Yorkshire Geek, and Andor Season 2 is upon us. The first three episodes have appeared on Disney+. That's how they're going to do it for this season of Andor. They're going to drop 3 episodes in one go, because each 3-episode arc covers a year. So there's going to be 12 episodes, so they've got 4 years to cover. So we had 3 episodes. The first one called 1 Year Later, the second one called Sagrona Tima, which is Chandril, and the third one is called Harvest. And you know what? I wasn't over impressed, to be completely honest. We'll go through it, but I wasn't over impressed. It were okay in places, but a lot of it dragged, really, like the first season, really dragged out. Why did that wedding go on, or whatever, betrothal, marriage, I don't even know what it was. Why did that go on so long? It went on for all 3 bloody episodes, and it still wasn't over when the 3rd episode ended. So that kind of got on my nerves a bit. But the best bits were the Andor bits with Cassian. But anyway. Right, we'll get into it. Right, I've made myself titchy tiny, and we'll pop up the episode, and we'll go through it. And I'll tell you what I thought. So here we go. There it is. We begin, as usual, with the heads. Anyway, off we go. And the title, I think they sped up the opening credit thing, this bit. I think it goes a little bit faster than Season 1, because it took forever Season 1 to appear. It still takes too long. Anyway, right, so the best bit of all 3 episodes, possibly, well, this part, not that part. I'm sorry, I know it's a Star Wars thing. I hate that they've decided to base their calendar on a battle, where the battle where the Death Star got blown up. So everything is like before the Battle of Yavin. I hate it. Just make another calendar. Do like an official Imperial calendar, and say year 1 was when the Empire was created. You know, at the end of Revenge of the Sith, and then base all the dates after that, because that would be a more proper calendar, wouldn't it? That's official for the Empire, not just one that's based on a battle. It doesn't make sense. We don't the English calendar's not based on the Battle of Hastings, is it? it's mental. But anyway, whatever. I imagine everybody disagrees with me with that regard. Anyway, right, this is the best bit, I think, of all 3 episodes. Although it does end on a bit of a high note with some action and stuff. But anyway, so we're here. We're in. I'm not sure if this is the name of the planet, by the way. Does it say at the beginning? I've probably skipped over a bit. Or maybe not. I don't know. Right, we see there's an experimental TIE fighter. I'm sure it's got a proper name. I have no idea what it is. And we see this technician who's very buxom. She's coming and sorting stuff out in the TIE fighter, and then she leaves and does stuff. Oh, here we go. And it says here, look, there we go. Sina Test Facility 73. I know Sina is that the name of the planet, or is that the name of the company that we're looking at? You know, the buildings and stuff. I don't know, because Sina, is it Sina Flight Systems? They're the ones that built the TIE fighters and all that, weren't they? So I'm not sure if they've named it after a planet, or if we're looking at the name of the facility or the company. I don't know. But anyway, whatever. That's where we are. We're at a CNAR facility where that experimental TIE fighter is being made. And we see some cool-looking stormtroopers. I don't know what they're called, ice troopers. I'm sure they've got a name. But they've got, wear like furs and stuff, so I'm guessing, you know, it looks like a bit of a cold planet. So these are like, I don't know, ice troopers, glacier troopers, or they'll call them something like that. Well, I don't know, but they're kind of cool looking. Anyway, there we see there's Andor there in an Imperial TIE fighter pilot's uniform. We learn that he's posing as a test pilot, and he's working with this technician. She's terrified that she's going to get caught and killed. And he's trying to put her at ease. I actually thought he was going to kill her, like he did with that fella in Rogue One. But we don't know. We don't know what happens to her. Anyway, so we'll skip by this. So he's putting her at ease. So he's going to basically steal that TIE fighter. That's what we know, isn't it? So off he goes. He steals the TIE fighter, and it did kind of remind me. He got in. He didn't know what were going on because there's no like traditional controls, and it did kind of remind me of that episode of Star Trek Enterprise where they had a Zindi insectoid ship, and all the controls were designed obviously for a Zindi insectoid, and they didn't know how to use them. So kind of a little bit like that, with a little bit of Independence Day thrown in, because he sets off and goes the wrong way immediately. See, I've missed it already. Look, there we go. He sends it backwards instead of forwards, and let's say this is the best bit. He finds out where the weapons are. This TIE fighter's got some amazing weapons. They're all shooting at him. Look, because it's all kicking off. And he starts blowing holes in stuff. Oh, this is one of those cool. There he is. Looking proper cool, innit? I'm sure they've got a name. People are screaming at me what the proper name for these are. I'm calling them Glacier Troopers, for want of a better term. There he is with some sort of bazooka. He's already fired one. Anyway, but Cassian's going to make short work of him with this massive weapon. Although I don't think it fires at first. But then it does eventually. I think it's got like charge up or something. But we don't see what happens. We just see that there's a big hole in the wall and no trooper left. It'd be nice to see it vaporise him, wouldn't it? But never mind. Right, there you go. He blows a hole in the door. Cool weapons, and out he comes. But he still can't fly the ship, and it's crashing and banging into stuff. Luckily, it's made of strong stuff. Since Disney acquired Star Wars, Lucasfilm, TIE fighters have become really robust, haven't they? They used to just fall apart at the drop of a hat. But anyway, here he is being chased through an icy crevasse by TIE fighters. And it's all cool and stuff. There we go. It's all very good. But he gets away and he flies off. And then we cut to this planet, which I can't remember what they call the names of the planet. It'll tell us. In a minute. We're catching up with Bix Colleen. Is that a name? I don't know. We see this fella walking. But it's a dream. She's having a dream, a nightmare, should I say, about being assaulted. Was that fella in season 1? Was he one of the... Because she was interrogated, wasn't she, by the Empire. So was he one of those? I honestly can't remember. So there we go. They're on this planet. There he is with Brasso and the others. Hang on. Oh, maybe it tells us in a minute. Does it tell us at the beginning what the name of this planet? Just bear with me. No, it doesn't. It tells us in a bit. Right, so when we go back to it, the name of the planet. Something like Mina Rao or something like that. But anyway, we'll get there. There's Chandrilla, a very rocky planet, it seems. Oh, this part of it is, at least. The Mothma estate. And this is where this wedding, betrothal, whatever you want to call it, is going on. Remember, Mon Mothma's essentially given up her daughter to this gangster. His son's going to marry her. So she's trying to build funds for the rebellion, isn't she? And that's what it's all about. So there's all that going on. She looks really familiar, and I don't know who she is. At first I thought it was Honor Blackman, but I don't think it's because she passed away for this, I think. But she does look really familiar. But I haven't looked at the cast list, so I don't know. And I don't even know the name of the character. But anyway, so all this is going on. Blah, 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 blah. Boring, boring, boring. But Genevieve O'Reilly, I think she's gorgeous. It's her eyes. I think she's got gorgeous Irish eyes. Anyway, this is Tay. I can't remember his surname. He's like a banker, accountant, whatever, a money man who's sorting out Mothma's finances because I think the Empire's starting to dig around, and because she's sending money to the rebellion and stuff like that, it's starting to the Empire's starting to take notice a little bit, so he's smoothing all that over. But we learn he's got his own problems, and I think he's going to end up trying to blackmail her, sort of. This is the gangster fella. There's Luthen Rail, played by the great Stellan Skarsgård. But like I said, not a huge amount happens. She's there for some reason. Don't ask me her name. I have no idea. She was in season 1 with that that other character. I can't remember any of the bloody names. I'm hopeless. I know I am. I should have a list of the character names, but I can't be bothered. Ah, so there's all this stuff going on. Oh, there we go. Yes, all right. Mina Rao. I've lost it. It's disappeared. It's some sort of. Let's go back again. Where are you? There we go. Mina Rao in the Outer Rim. Everywhere's in the Outer Bleeding Rim, innit? It's obviously an agricultural planet with huge fields of wheat, prairies, I suppose you could say. And this is where Bix and Brasso and Wilman. What are you in season 1? I don't know. They're hiding out. Because remember all the bother at the end of season 1. They're hiding out on Mina Rao. And being like mechanics and fixing things for the farmers who are hiding them. But then the Empire arrives looking a clunky looking ship. Meanwhile, Cassian, there's a lot of going back and forth. I'll be here all day if I just bloody tell you all the back and forth. He's landing on this planet where he's, for Pete's sake, where he's supposed to meet a pilot who's going to take the fighter on. Cassian's ship's there. He's supposed to meet another pilot who's going to take the TIE fighter off, to its next location. But he's not there, and his ship's been essentially destroyed. And there's some other rebels there who, for some reason, are fighting amongst themselves. Don't ask me why, but they are. Back on Coruscant, we learn that Peter, too much back and forth. The Empire wants the planet Gorman because of it's got a mineral deep underground that they want to extract, that they'll use for coating the reactor lens or firing lens or something. They need it for the Death Star, basically. But extracting it will essentially destroy the planet, essentially. So they've got to basically go in, take over Gorman, and do all that. And Dedra Meero, she's going to get the task of doing that. She doesn't want to do it, but she's got no choice. These are the rebels that are fighting amongst themselves. They're essentially bad guys in this because they don't believe that Cassian's a rebel with them because he won't tell them anything. Because obviously, when you're part of a rebellion, it's in cells, isn't it? And they shouldn't really communicate with each other or tell each other what's going on in case they get captured, and they don't want to give the other cells up. That's so he's not telling. So they don't believe him. Anyway, so blah blah blah. The Empire's arrived at Mina Rao essentially to do a stock take of what's there, and they're also looking for illegals. So make of that what you will. Here we are back at this wedding that drags on all through all 3 bleeding episodes. Here we see this fella is Tay something or other. I don't know. He's got his own problems. He wants to talk to Mon Mothma about what's going on. As I said, he essentially ends up trying to blackmail her, and I think he's going to come to a sticky end. They're going to get rid of him, or Luthen Rail's going to, tidy up the situation. Anyway, that's the end of that. I think it all kicks off there at the end because they all start shooting at each other. These rebels on this planet, which we learn is an important planet. Anyway, so then we get to episode 2. Is it going to work? Is it going to work? There we go. We get to episode 2. Let's. I think we've got the recap and all that. There we are. So now the rebels are now split into 2. They're fighting amongst themselves. Cassian's being held captive by one of them. And then the others, they're trying to work out how to operate this TIE fighter, but they can't work it out. So they're trying to turn it. Obviously they can't fly it, so they're using ropes and stuff to try and turn it to use its amazing weapons to destroy the other rebels. It's all stupid, and I hated it. Cassian's biding his time. Back on Chandrila during this bloody wedding that goes on forever. We're learning that they've not heard from Cassian. They're supposed to have heard from him by now, but they've not heard from him yet. And Luthen Rail's assistant, she's getting, bothered by it. She wants to go back to Coruscant, back to the shop where they've got all their equipment in the back of that shop, so she can try and get in touch with him properly. Proper comms. Anyway, we see that Cyril's been promoted a few times. I think now he's in charge of this section. They've got rubbish ties, haven't they? And here he's talking to a young man. Except he's not landing on him, is it? For some bizarre, he's just landing on bloody Cyril. He keeps cutting back and forth between the young fella that's just starting work. Oh dear. So he's telling him, you can have a good career here, basically. That's what he's saying. This fella's not nice. This is kind of reminiscent of World War II. This could almost be in Inglourious Bastards or something like that. This Imperial officer comes all smiling and all that. But we see he's taking an interest in Bix Colleen. And, fair enough. She's astonishingly gorgeous. But anyway, even when she's not looking her best, you can see he wants her. But he gets interrupted here. They're back on Chandrilla doing more Chandrilla and stuff. Blah, blah, blah. Right. And on back on Coruscant, we learn that Dedran Miro and Cyril Khan, I forgot his bloody name then. Cyril. They've got to call him something nice one, Cyril. They're living together now, because remember he rescued her, didn't he, in season 1 when it all kicked off at the end of season 1. He saved her, didn't he? So they're now in a relationship. Wedding, yawn, boring, shenanigans, I'm going to blackmail you, she's worried. Luthen says this needs dealing with, etc. She's gone back to, this is Luthen's assistant, she's gone back to the shop and she's using their comm system to try and get in touch with Cassian. Right, what else? There you go. Boring. It all kicks off here on this planet, and an animal attacks. It's called the Doodah. I'm not kidding, that's what it says in the subtitles. It's Doodah roaring or something like that. So that's, and while that happens, while they're all distracted, Cassian escapes, takes the ship, the TIE fighter, steals the TIE fighter back, takes off, and then we see they're actually on Yavin 4. And you see the temples of Yavin 4. So there you go. So this is obviously before the rebellion set up its base there. So I don't know why I'd want to go back after what's just happened there, but I'm sure, I don't know. Will we see them rebels again? But then there you go. That's the end of episode 2. It is dragging out a bit, I must admit. And then we have episode 3. It's called Harvest. This takes place, I think, mostly on Mina Rao, but there's also the wedding stuff going on. Here we go. Let's get past the there we go. Right. So Cassian is essentially, this was a nice shot, I must admit. I did like this shot of the TIE fighter just gliding through space, and he's trying to work out what to do. He's trying to get in touch with people. He's Cassian. Or I think something broken. I don't know, but he hot wires the TIE fighter, and it suddenly goes bombing off and spinning out of control. There we go. He does this little off it goes. Whee! So I don't know what he's done there. This is Cassian's droid, isn't it? It was really annoying. It's got a stutter for some reason, obviously malfunctioning, and it's waiting for Andor, Cassian, to come back. Anyway, they're at some sort of shindig. It's a bit like, I don't know, Amish stuff going on. They're having a big feast. There they are. Or is it just dinner time for the workers? I don't know, but they're all eating and having fun. And this fella comes and tells Brasso that the Imperials they'll be here soon, and they've already caught some illegals, because they've obviously not got visas. I think he calls them visas. They're illegally. Why don't they just go and hide? There's like fields of tall wheat or whatever it is. Just go and hide somewhere out of the way. Maybe they've got scanners. I don't know. Anyway, so he's given them. He's worked it out so that he can send them away to another sector, with a work order to another sector, and so they can go there, do this work, and then come back once the Imperials have gone. But we learn that it doesn't work out like that. She's still worrying and wedding and yawn. Look, her daughter's she says to her daughter, you don't have to go through with this if you don't want, because she didn't want to give her to this gangster anyway, or his gangster's son. But I think she wants to marry him. I don't know, maybe I don't know, but she does. So here we go, here's the ceremony, and it's all boring, and they're going to speaking in Chandrillan, and in a big a grassy circle, and they're walking around and doing all this stuff. Yawn. Meanwhile, on Coruscant, Dedramiro and Cyril, they're going to entertain Cyril's mother. Remember her? So they're having dinner. Cyril's mother's arrived, and obviously she's not very nice. She's always, making fun of her son, but Dedramiro not standing for that. Cyril gets all embarrassed and leaves the room, and basically Dedramiro says to his mother, "Stop, I will make sure he calls you and visits you, but, you've got to start being nice to him, basically, or else." That's what she says. So she basically shuts up his mother. All right, Cassian gets through to Luthen's assistant. She's got a name. Clea Markey. There we go. And he's saying, it's all gone wrong, etc. He wants to know. She tells him not to go back to Mina Rao because the Imperials are there. They've set up. They can't communicate with it. While the Imperials are doing this inspection, you can't communicate with that planet. Must have set up a jammers or something. But he's going to go there anyway. So he's going to head to Mina Rao. So this is the dinner. So the wedding. This gangster, he's got a name. I can't bloody name. Sundullah or something. I don't bloody know. He's brought a gift. This is his gift to the happy couple, which is a Chandrillan statue that was stolen 25,000 years ago. Only 8 have been discovered. This is the 9th, and Luthen Rail found it somehow. I don't know if this is going to be important. I don't know, but anyway, if Luthen Rail's had something to do with it, maybe it is. Anyway, right, so this is where they're kind of blackmailing her, and she has a chat with Luthen Rail, and he says he'll deal, it needs sorting out. Right, so that were the Imperials on Mina Rao. Right, so Cassian's arrived at Mina Rao. She's Bix is gonna get attacked by that Imperial officer any minute now. Hang on, where are we? Where is he? He's coming in a minute. Is it Wilman? I forgot his name now. Willan, whatever. The young kid. He's gone off to say goodbye. Because remember, they're going off to another sector. He's gone off to say goodbye to his girlfriend. And Brasso went to look for him. He's been caught by a stormtrooper. So anyway, meanwhile, this Imperial officer attacks her. We were warned that there was this scene. It's not that bad. It's just, he wants to, play nudie prod games with her, but she doesn't want that. She fights back and hits him with stuff. She kills him eventually, just batters him to death. Not in a gory way, but she gets him. And he's the fella, I think he's a corporal who were driving the speeder that the officer were in, was a lieutenant. He hears the shouting and all that, so he goes to investigate, and the officer comes out and dies, collapses dead on the floor, and then she shoots the other fella. Here we see that that's her. That's I forgot her name already. Vel. That's Cinta, who was Vel's girlfriend in season 1, and now they haven't seen each other for a while. I think they've fallen out. She's suddenly replacing Tay Colmer's driver because he says he's got to leave, and so she's replaced it. So I'm thinking Luthen Rail set this up, and they're going to do away with Tay Colmer. We don't see, but anyway, Cassian arrives in his TIE fighter and basically blows them up. Here we go. This gets a bit cool and exciting. Fires a rocket. Don't see many rockets in, Star Wars after Episode 4, do we? We saw them in Clone War era and all that, but they're supposed to have done away with rockets, aren't they? But apparently this one's still got them, look. Blows that up. So it's all kicking off. And he comes around shooting the stormtroopers and the other officers. Pew, pew, pew. He shoots the grain silo and buries some of them in the grain. Brasso escapes on the speeder, but he's being shot and he's killed. Brasso's killed. Could have called him something else, couldn't they? Brasso's terrible. Brasso's a polish, isn't it? For metal polish. Anyway, so he's reunited with Bix and the other fella, Willen, or whatever the hell he's called. And he says, get on board, we've got to get out of here. So they're leaving now in the TIE fighter. They're leaving Mina Rao. Meanwhile, the wedding's still going on. There's... I can never remember her name. Vel. Why can I never remember Vel? Being fed up. Because you're always fed up. Somebody's always fed up at a party. They sat out of the way. Here we see this Cinta driving, flying, whatever. Is that a gun? Has it got a gun on the front of it? Or is that part of the engine? Anyway, driving Tay Colmer away. Not the best effect. It's Star Wars, isn't it? But it's like proper poo, that, doesn't it? It's not, they're obviously just on the sound stage. But anyway, whatever. So I think she's going to do away with him at some... I don't know. Are they just going to warn him off? I don't know. But we don't see them. We just see her driving him away. They fly off into the wild blue yonder. Meanwhile, this party's going on. We see that Mon Mothma's down in shots and getting herself drunk and just dancing crazily. And that's how it ends. Whatever. I'm actually getting a bit annoyed. I'd like the bits, obviously the actiony bits were cool, but that wedding just went on too long. And now we're going to have a year jump, aren't we? So they've escaped from Mina Rao. What's going to happen next? We're going to have it's going to jump another year for the next episode. So will that wedding still be going on? That's what I'm wondering. But yeah, it wasn't great. It wasn't great. It could have been better. I suppose it could have been worse. I don't know, but yeah, I don't know. The setting stuff up out there, I suppose. Maybe it will get better. We've got 9 episodes to go, haven't we? So we will see what happens. But not a great start for me. Not a great start. And I did enjoy season 1, but that was a bit slow and plodding in places as well. A bit too slow. And this could, although it wasn't technically slow, they were just, I don't know. I thought it would be spread out a bit more, if you know what I mean, in time. But it all seemed to happen in this short period. And now it's going to jump a year. But the show does Yavin. God knows why they're going to go back there. There's all these doodahs running about in the forest killing people. And a band of rebels who can't get on. God knows, I don't know. But anyway, so yeah. Not the best start. If I'd give it a score, I'd give this one like a 6 out of 10. That's at the beginning bit where they stole the TIE fighter. That were a cool sequence with the chase through the canyons and stuff. That were cool. If a bit dark. And the bit when he arrived at the end and fighting the Imperials on Mina Rao. That were cool as well. But the wedding spoiled it for me. It just went on too long. So we just had one episode of that wedding in, and then other stuff. But obviously, it's all to do with Mon Mothma and how she's going to end up leaving the Senate, and because she's going to end up on the run, isn't she? I suppose, from the Empire. But yeah. Anyway, I'm just looking here on the Wikipedia. The budget. It says the budget for Andor. You know what it is? $645 million plus, it says. Let's have a read of that. Where's that? Disney revealed $645 million spending on Star Wars show Andor in Forbes magazine. That is a stupid money, isn't it, for a TV show? That's Rings of Power money, isn't it? Unbelievable. 645 million. I don't know where that went. Some nice sets that they built. But anyway. Right, so whatever. Yeah, 6 out of 10 for those first 3 episodes. Not the best. Some cool action sequences. But that wedding spoiled it for me. It just went on too long. The bits on Mina Rao were okay, because it was a bit like, Germans coming in during World War Two. Nazis coming in and finding, people on the run. It was that sort of thing. Like I said, Inglourious Bastards sort of thing. So that were kind of cool. But that wedding ruined it for me. I hated it. It just went on and on and on. We kept going back to it. And, but whatever. I think $640 million went on that wedding and all dresses, costumes and sets. But anyway. Right, so there we go. So we'll see what happens next week when we get 3 more episodes and the next year of Cassian's adventures. Hopefully it'll be a bit more exciting. Will we see him starting to set up Yavin 4? Will they go back and find the bodies of those rebels? Or maybe they got rescued. I don't know. Or maybe the Doodahs sorted them out. What do they call them? Doodahs? Anyway. Right, so we'll leave it there. So thanks for watching wherever you are. Look after each other. And until next time, may the Force be with you. And I'll say the...
That old Yorkshire geek with stories to